We are coming perilously close to the end of civilization as we have known it. And very ironically, this on your screen might be humanity's last hope. If there were some alien force, whether it came from the deep oceans in Antarctica, like I have alleged, or if it truly did come from somewhere in outer space, if they came here and gave humanity a reason to be united, that might save us. But right now, especially in this country, I don't think maps like this anymore are just speculation of conspiracy theories. There's already talk now in California. It's getting traction. A secessionist movement, and they might be able to take Oregon and Washington with them. This is probably the most accurate breakup of the United States. I can't see Arizona going with California, or at this point even Nevada. But I can see even the South being divvied up into two, with, there being an alliance of sorts, but different parts of each different group would have different interests depending on geographically where you were. But I can definitely see the Northeast, Virginia on up, just saying, we're done with the rest of you. I can see that for sure. And this whole Midwestern thing, I can see being its own little cabal as well. So I'm just saying there's some information out there now, folks, that not anybody's reporting, but it's already happening. The shortages are happening. The prices are not getting better. And I know Trump's only been in office a week, but even if you would look at what they're doing in the stock market, the betting on the futures, it's not good. So I will leave that part of it there, but let's get started with the main meat of the video. Just wanted to, as always, lead off, say thank you very, very much to everyone who has continued to join us over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, where at the base level, it's only one single US dollar per month, even less if you sign up for an entire year. And most importantly for everyone, it is fully and completely refundable for the first 90 days, no questions asked. Florida Maquis, why should I go over there and pledge some of my hard-earned money? Well, number one, it would help this channel out immensely, even at the $1 a month level, just 3 pennies a day. But you get to see videos like used to be on YouTube 6 years, 8 years, 10 years ago, where you can just take the gloves off, say whatever you want to say, show images that may not have perhaps even been technically allowed then, but they let it slide. These days, they let nothing slide, primarily because of AI. So, love to have you over there. God bless. Thank you so much, all of you who have showed up over there. It's why we have 4 levels. There was initially just 1, but so many people came in and said, Florida Maquis, we want more content. We want better content. We want higher level content. So I opened up more levels, and I think this is probably where we're going to stop with these 4, but who knows? Anyway, let's get right to it. Trump's deportations could cost California hundreds of billions of dollars. How so? Well, real simple. These people, for the vast majority of them, are working, regardless of what Fox News has taught you to believe. The vast majority of the people who came here, the millions and millions of them, came here to work. Whether they had papers, whether they didn't. Florida Maquis, no papers means they're a criminal. Okay, well, who's going to do their job? When the roundups continue at thousands and thousands of people a day, who is going to step in and do those jobs? Well, Americans. If there were already Americans available to do those jobs, there wouldn't have been those jobs to walk into. And those of you who haven't heard this, Californians collecting signatures for secession from the United States. State officials have authorized a campaign dubbed Collects It for a possible vote, not until 2028. I can see it happening a lot sooner than that. A lot sooner. And this is the most important part. Those of you who don't believe what's being said here. Here's why mass deportation could affect the nation's food supply. President-elect Donald Trump promised to begin his second term, largest mass deportation in history. While undocumented immigrants make up only 5% of the total labor force, the share of undocumented workers across the nation's food supply chain is 16%. In some industries, and this is where you have to pay attention, the number is much higher. In Idaho, the 3rd largest dairy producing state in the country, the Idaho Dairymen's Association, remember Idaho, red state, Trump loving Idaho, estimates that nearly 90% of the state's on-site dairy workers were born outside of the U.S. nationally. Undocumented people made up roughly 45% of all hired crop farm workers in 2017, but by 2020 it was down to 41.2%. Mass deportation could affect agricultural labor and lead to a 10% increase in food price. If we lost half of the farm worker population in a short period of time, the agriculture sector would likely collapse. There are no Mary Jo Dudley, the director of Cornell Farm Worker Program. This is not a liberal. This is not somebody from California. This is not some CNN commentator. Mary Jo Dudley, the director of the Cornell Farm Worker Program. There are no available skilled workers to replace the current workforce should this policy be put into place, and it is now. There's only one place the U.S. has left to go once we start pushing these people out of the country. And that's to open the prisons back up and forcibly put these guys out into the fields and working. And some of them don't even qualify for the jobs that need to be done. Here are the numbers. And I know Fox News has brainwashed you into thinking that, in Texas, of the 1.7 million illegals that are there, 1.69 million are all gang members and criminals. It's just ridiculous. It's just stupid. It's a tiny, as a percentage, well, I should say it this way. The criminal element amongst the undocumented individuals in this country, as a percentage, is far lower than any other real minority in this country. But as a factor of how much it gets reported, it's over the top. Anytime anyone of Spanish descent or who doesn't have papers does jaywalks, it's on Fox News. Food shortages may be rampant in 2025. How many of you have gone to the store and you've been trying to find something and it's just not been there for weeks? It's just not been there for weeks. And you can't find it. You look all over online, and the places you can get it, it's ridiculously expensive. Meat, coffee, and more essentials that could skyrocket in 2025. This was just December of last year. This one was, well, both of these, December 4, December 18. Trump's proposed mass deportations would backfire on U.S. workers. This is all the way back in March. The best economic research on past deportations suggests the opposite. The immigrants being targeted for removal are the lifeblood of several parts of the U.S. economy. Their deportation will instead prompt U.S. business owners to cut back or start fewer new businesses, in some cases shifting their investments to less labor-intensive technologies and industries while scaling back production to reflect the loss of consumers. You see, it's not what people are thinking. These camps are going to be real. These camps are going to be real. And there's going to be, you watch, there's going to be a massive humanitarian disaster. People are going to say, oh, we're so much safer. We're so much safer. And once again, I want to go back to something. Because I know what people are already typing. Oh, well, so we should just do nothing and then let the illegal criminal immigrants just come in and roll over our country. That's what you want, you commie mucky. You see, when you say somebody is doing something wrong, or there might be a better way to do something, people like to fall into slippery slope, what they call black or white thinking, or what they call tu quoque. It's a psychological dysphoria. It's one of the 24 cognitive biases and 24 logical fallacies. When you tell somebody or show somebody that they're attempting to fix a problem in a very, very incorrect way, they make the allegation that you don't want to see the problem addressed at all. Or because others have also addressed it in a very poor way. You say, oh, well, you want to go back to this other bad way of doing things. It's this either or thing. You want to go back to Biden? Nope. Oh, so you wanted Kamala? No. So do you want Trump? We had more than 3 choices. We have got to get broken out of this mentality. People need to start thinking again. That's why I started the Florida Maquis Patreon channel, because that's what we talk about. Not getting caught in these psychological games of semantics. There are better ways of doing things, better ways of addressing problems, more intelligent ways. And sometimes the way you address a problem one place, like say in Florida, would be a different way than you would address it in Michigan or in Missouri or in Washington. And this might actually not be too much of a bad thing if it would lead to localities starting to take responsibility for their own issues. The Midwest sees things one way. Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, they see things another way. We here in the Southeast, the deep Southeast, yet even another. There's no rule, no law, and no morality that says that all 50 states all have to be in lockstep, unison agreement on every single way to address every problem. Nevada has legalized prostitution, for God's sakes. Legalized prostitution. There are parts of southern Alabama, I believe, in Mississippi, that have dry counties, places you can't buy alcohol any time of the day or night. I believe it's at Michigan and Indiana. On Sundays, one you can't buy cigarettes, the other one you can't buy liquor. Right at the border, they have little alcohol shops on one side and cigarette shops on the other. I mean, just weird little laws that aren't that big of a deal, but it shows that in practice, we don't all have to agree, and we can still fix the nation's problems, is my point. But mark my words, things are going to get a lot worse. Things are going to get a lot worse. I know people don't want to think so, but there were, and I guess I should have brought up a map or something to deal with this, but I guess this one will have to do when we were the colonies, the 13 colonies, and trying to become our own country and trying to wrest control away of the West from the British Empire. Before the war, the colonists, the revolutionaries, put together a list of grievances against the king. And amongst those lists of grievances was the king's attempt to prevent people from settling in the West, settling in the New World. He didn't want people coming here, especially from England, because he knew that the more people we had, the more our economy would grow. Now, growing economies drive up prices. Shrinking economies drive down prices. That's just the rule of economics. Don't think so? Look it up. And no, oil doesn't count because the price of oil is not determined by market factors. Gasoline is not determined by market factors. It's determined by OPEC. So, but every other thing out there that isn't controlled by the government has that hallmark to it. So the more people we had come into the colonies, the more people we had come and bring in their ability to add value to things, to build homes and build businesses, it made us more and more and more powerful, more and more of a threat. There was no citizenship back then. There was no such thing. The word citizen doesn't appear in the Constitution. Anywhere. There was to be no litmus test for who had rights and who didn't. This ridiculous, bonkers idea. You can't have a country unless you have borders. Most of our country had no borders. When we founded this country, most of it had no borders. You could come here from anywhere and not have to worry about when you got off the boat, somebody shipping you off to some class and making you take a test and making you swear oath and allegiance to this and oath and allegiance to that. That didn't happen. It didn't happen in 1776. It didn't happen in 1789. The Pledge of Allegiance didn't start getting said until 1950. This concept of only citizens having rights is repugnant to the Constitution. It's so hilarious to me that I hear people, especially the gun people, God-given rights, God-given rights, God gave us our rights. I thought only citizens had rights to due process, right to be secure in your person and papers, right to the Fifth Amendment, right to free speech. Oh, you need to be a citizen for that now? Oh, you need to be a citizen. You need to have been born here. Somebody needs to go back and tell the founding fathers that all the people that they brought here, yeah, sorry, they need to go back and take their citizenship tests that none of them did. It was repugnant to them because that's what the king would have wanted. You see, they even referred to themselves as English subjects. They even referred to themselves, the colonists, as English subjects. In fact, it was their determination that their rights as English subjects had been violated. That was the very basis for their rebellion. They felt that they were being treated differently than other English subjects. They just wanted to be treated like all other English subjects. This is the big lie about this country that's being promulgated by people on Fox and people on right-wing media. That ain't how it started. It ain't how it started. That's what led to the war in the 1860s, the War of Northern Interference and Aggression. Because we had one part of the country down here that had one way of looking at the world and one way they wanted to do things. And then we had a whole nother group of people up here that had an entirely different idea. Then we had people out here in the West that had yet a third idea. And there were people that had gone all the way to the coast searching for gold, and they had another one. National unity, and we need to be America, and is a bunch of horse shit. That's if you believe the Constitution. If you want to not believe the Constitution, then go ahead and believe whatever, communist, dictatorial, thesis you want to about everybody always agreeing and marching in lockstep behind Washington, D.C., but you're not going to get that out of this channel, so I will leave it there. God bless. Join us on Patreon. Pray for me. Pray for you. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.